What's up, guys? Welcome back to the How to Play Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, episode 3. If you missed the first 2 episodes, links in the description. And yeah, we went over in the first 2 episodes the 10 types of cards in the game, how to read the cards, like the different parts of a card, and the 3 important decks that you need to play the game, or the 3 kinds of decks in the game, and we went over the playmat. So if you missed that type of stuff, links in the description. Also, since you are here so you don't miss a video, and if you like the content, hit the subscribe button. And after you hit the subscribe button, click on the little notification bell. So every time I post a video, you'll get a notification about it, and you won't miss any of these fun videos. Because eventually we're going to start doing How to Play Magic the Gathering 2, and if that interests you, you definitely want to stay around. And we got so much more to cover about how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So, for today's episode, we're going to be going over normal monsters, effect monsters, and I'm going to go over fusion monsters, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff to cover as far as the 10 different types of cards, so I'm going to try and break them down into chunks of 2 or 3 in each video. This way I don't overwhelm anybody, because I'm assuming a lot of you people watching the video now are new players or new to the game, so I don't want to overwhelm anybody. But here we go. Okay, guys, so kicking it off right at the beginning, this is what's called a normal monster. The plain Jane, nothing special, kind of everyday monster. For this picture, we're using the Headless Knight, probably one of the first cards I've ever actually owned. So you can tell a normal monster by its tannish colored card. Also on the little text box, you'll take notice it says Fiend, and then there's just flavor text in there. It doesn't really do anything. So normal monsters are pretty simple. You don't see a lot of people use a whole lot of these. There used to be a popular time where they would build whole decks of normal monster, like they'd have spell trap cards and just normal monsters instead of mixing in everything else. But real simple, plain Jane, just a flavor text in the box, picture. It's got the attack and defense at the bottom of the text box, and then the cool artwork. So, on to the next type of card. That's pretty simple, huh? Okay, so for the next type of card, we're going to use my good buddy, the Penguin Soldier here. He is what's called an effect monster. You can tell he's an effect monster by the brownish colored card. And also in the top of the text box, it says Aqua and then backslash effect. So then you know that he does something else when he comes onto the field because he's an effect monster. Now underneath that in the text box, it does say flip, which is when you use him, and we'll get into positions in the next video, but when he's flipped face up, he gets his ability, and it says you can return up to 2 monsters on the field to the owner's target hand. So if you target your own cards, you would put them back in your hand, or you could target your opponent's monsters and they would go back to their hand, which we'll get into that after we go over all the monsters and stuff in a later video. So there are many different types of effect monsters. Not all of them are flip effects. Some of them have an effect that happens when it comes into the field. Some of them, like it says, when it enters the field or when it's played on the field, it gets a special effect, and then it will say what the effect is. So you always want to read that text box on the bottom. Unless it's a normal monster, there will be some kind of text in the bottom saying what the card does. There are certain exceptions for this. Fusion monsters, which we'll get into in the next chunk of this video. Ritual monsters will have the summoning conditions in the text box instead of an effect. Some of them have the summoning conditions and an effect. The text does get kind of small on those, so you just have to kind of squint a little bit and read the text. But pretty simple. Effect monsters, really simple. Let's go on to fusions. Okay guys, so this is the third type of card we're going to go over in this video. It is called a fusion monster. You can tell by the purple colored card, and in the top of the text box it will say whatever type of creature it is, fusion, and backslash fusion, and a backslash if it's an effect type monster. It'll also have effect here. Not all fusion monsters have effects. There are quite a few that do, but not all of them do. And then right underneath that, it has the fusion materials, because obviously it's a fusion. And for anyone that doesn't know what a fusion is, it's when you take two things, mix them together, and get another thing. Kind of like in Dragon Ball Z. If any of you nerds out there watch Dragon Ball Z, when they do the... Okay, so this here is called polymerization. Now, to make fusion monsters, you're going to need this card or a version of this card, because they do have other cards that do the same thing this card does. Now, what this card says is fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. Now, obviously, the fusion materials will be whatever 2 creatures or 3 creatures, whatever happens to be on the fusion card that you're trying to fusion summon, and boom, card tells you what it does right there in the text box. Now, there are different versions of polymerization. Like I said, there's like quick play polymerizations. This one's just a normal spell card. So there's quick play spell card polymerization cards. There's field cards that do what polymerization does. And there also is a type of fusion called contact fusion, which the fusion monster will say in the text box, you do not need polymerization, you just need to send the creatures to the graveyard. But the fusion monster will say in the text box whether it doesn't need polymerization. Other than those, I think there's only like 20 fusion monsters or 30 fusion monsters that have that on it out of the hundreds of them. So every other set needs some kind of fusion polymerization card. So, I know this is a little bit long, but that is pretty much the gist of fusion monsters. You don't see these used all that often, but it is still a part of the game that we need to cover. So, fusion monsters, fusion monsters, fusion monsters. So, if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget the subscribe button, because we will have more How to Play Yu-Gi-Oh videos coming out in the near future. I'm going to be trying to do about 2 of these a week. This way, hopefully by the end of the month, we can get through the entirety of the parts of the game. I believe in the next video, we are going to cover XYZs and Synchro monsters, because those are a little bit more complicated. Synchros, XYZs, and probably tuner monsters, and you'll find out about them in the next video. So, I will see you then.